can occur is just below the attachment of the ligamentum arteriosum in the descending aorta. So these are the two common sites where you can get. Pathogenesis, as we have seen before, it results from an intimal tear which allows the blood to percolate through it. The another one mechanism is, suppose this is the wall, aortic wall, and here is a vasa vasorum, that is a blood vessel supplying the aortic wall. Suppose this ruptures, this can result in a hematoma formation which can expand and cause an intimal tear. So from either from inside or from outside you can get a dissection. So it is, this part is called as the intramural hematoma. This is vasa vasorum, sorry, there's a typing mistake. And blood dissects through the lamina, creating a false lumen. So the blood enters through this and creates a lumen here. This is a false lumen. Sometimes the blood entering here can make a tear somewhere else and come in back into the aortic lumen itself. Penetrating ulcers are more common in the middle and distal third of the descending aorta. Penetrating atheromatous ulcer. This is one type of acute aortic syndrome. And classification, depending upon the site of involvement, there are two types of classification, that is DeBakey and Stanford, of which Stanford is used for treatment, management purposes. DeBakey classifies this into three types, type 1, 2 and 3. Type 1, the dissection involves both the ascending as well as descending aorta. Type 2, only ascending aorta involved, and type 3 is descending aorta is involved. You can see here, type 1 which involves both the ascending as well as descending, type 2 only the ascending, and type 3 descending. This is Stanford classification, which classifies the dissection into two types, type A and type B. Type A, proximal dissection, and type B is distal dissection. Ascending aorta involvement is A, and from the arch of aorta to the descending aorta, that is the intimal tear. Intimal tear, when it occurs in the ascending aorta, it is called as type A, and when it occurs in the arch or descending aorta, it is called as Stanford B. So here you can see the intimal tear is here, here also the intimal tear is here. Any dissection where the intimal tear is in the ascending aorta comes under Stanford A. So both these comprises the Stanford A, and this one is B because it occurs in the descending aorta. Predisposing factors: hypertension, Marfan syndrome, Loeys-Dietz syndrome, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, Takai's arteritis and Jane's arteritis, coarctation of aorta, bicuspid aortic valve, weightlifting, even weightlifting can cause dissection, and cocaine use and deceleration injury. An acute deceleration can produce intimal tear. Clinical features: this disease is more common in the men in the ratio of 2:1 and commonly occurs in the 6th and 7th decade. There will be an acute chest pain which is tearing in nature, which radiates to the interscapular region. The patient can have accompanying diaphoresis, and patient can have aortic regurgitation if the ascending root of aorta is involved. Patient can present with pulmonary edema also, and sometimes the dissection can involve the ostium of the branches. So depending upon the branches that are involved, the patient can have varied manifestations. Even CNS manifestations like hemiplegia, hemianesthesia and paraplegia can occur if the ostium of the spinal artery, vertebral artery or carotid artery are involved. Bowel ischemia can result when there is involvement of the ostium of the superior mesenteric artery and inferior mesenteric artery. Likewise, patient can have myocardial infarction also. Sometimes this dissection can enlarge and compress upon the adjacent structures like cervical sympathetic ganglion, which can result in Horner syndrome. When this compresses on the esophagus, it can cause dysphagia. When recurrent laryngeal nerve is compressed, it can cause hoarseness of voice, and SVC syndrome also can result. Two peculiar features like hemopericardium and cardiac tamponade and aortic lesion are more common with the proximal dissection. Investigation: X-ray will show a widened superior mediastinum, and pleural effusion can be seen in some patients, which will be mostly left-sided. Most of the cardiac diseases produces lesions that are pleural effusion in the left side. ECG mostly will be normal except when the coronaries are involved, in which case it can mimic MI. The other modalities are echo, CT and MRI. There are two types of echo. One is transthoracic echo and another one is transesophageal echo. Transthoracic echo is useful for ascending aorta, and transesophageal can detect both the ascending as well as descending but not the arch of aorta. And CT and MRI can localize the intimal flap, that is the tear in the intima. Management: acute medical management comprises of reducing the BP and the heart rate. You have to reduce the cardiac contractility as well as the BP. So the target is heart rate of 60 per minute and a BP less than 120 mm of mercury. So the drug of choice here are the beta blocker. Parenterally you have to use it, metoprolol, esmolol or propranolol can be used. Labetalol, which has both alpha as well as beta, can be tried. And ACE inhibitors can be added if the patient has already received beta blockers. Nitroprazole can be used, have to be used along with beta blocker to reduce the preload as well as afterload. Suppose if there is any contraindication to the above said drugs like beta blockers, if the patient has peripheral arterial disease or bronchospasm, you cannot use beta blocker. In such cases, you have to go for negative inotrope calcium channel blockers like verapamil and diltiazem, which limits your heart rate as well. Surgery for Stanford type A, surgery is the mainstay of treatment. For complicated type B and intramural hematoma, also needs surgery. Uncomplicated type B, we know type A is the intimal tear occurs in the ascending aorta, whereas type B it occurs in the descending aorta. Uncomplicated type B can be managed medically. Thank you.